Yosif al-Hasnawi's father tells CHCH News paramedics did not do enough to save his son's life. Mass protests of Trump's Jerusalem decision continue for a second day in Toronto. And one Hamilton man is making Christmas miracles for thousands of local kids.
CHCH Evening News with Nicole Martin.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Hundreds of people honored 19-year-old Yosif al-Hasnawi last night at Hamilton City Hall. The young man was shot and killed after trying to protect a stranger. Yosif's father spoke with CHCH News for the very first time. He says he wants justice and adds that he believes if paramedics would have done their job that night, Yosif would be here today.
I came to my son. He was lying on the sidewalk. Paramedics was very arrogant and ignorant.
Yosif's father, Majid, was at the mosque on the night of the shooting and ran to the scene.
I begged him, please take my son. He said he has no issue. Just tell him he's stop acting. He's lying.
Majid says he told the two paramedics who responded to do their jobs and look after his son. According to police, it took the paramedics 38 minutes to finally transport Yosif to hospital.
So I believe the paramedic took part in the crime. The criminals start the crime and the paramedics. Both of them was rude, and the other guy, the younger man, he was even worse. They finished the crime.
Police have charged 19-year-old Dale King with second-degree murder. They believe he was the one who shot and killed Yosif, but his father says if the paramedics did their job, Yosif would be alive.
We need justice, and whoever, did make mistakes must be hold counted.
Multiple people claim to have seen police misconduct on the night of the murder. While the family says they won't file a formal complaint, they know other witnesses will come forward. The Special Investigations Unit says they are still trying to decide whether they should take over the case. While the family awaits the results of these ongoing investigations, Majid says he appreciates the community support.
I love him. He's my breath. He's my life. He's everything to me. This memorial service gave me lots of strength, and I really appreciate all of you guys.
In the coming days, Majid will fly with Yosif's body to Iraq for his burial. It's expected to cost over $25,000. We will have a link to their donation information on our website, chch.com.
Days after President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, breaking with decades of American foreign policy, protests continue around the world and for the second day in Toronto.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Justice is our...
Trump's move sparked criticism from U.S. allies in Europe, the Middle East, and beyond, who said it was not helpful for peace. Protesters here in Canada are calling on the federal government to openly condemn Trump's decision. Hundreds of people stood outside the U.S. consulate demanding action.
Well, we're here to send a very clear, short message: hands off Jerusalem. Jerusalem belongs to the Palestinians and the Jews, not the Israelis, the Jews. And one man like Donald Trump cannot, with a stroke of a pen, change history.
The United Nations has to do something about this, because it's disaster. There's no peace.
Meanwhile, in Paris, France today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisted the sooner Palestinians recognize the, quote, reality of Jerusalem as the country's capital, the better.
Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It's been the capital of Israel for 3,000 years. It's been the capital of the Jewish state for 70 years. We respect your history and your choices, and we know that as friends, you respect ours. I think this is also essential for peace. I think what peace requires is to be built on a foundation of truth, on the facts of the past and on the present. This is the only way that you can build a realistic and successful future. Where this is the capital.
Trump's declaration triggered clashes in East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, and protests in the Arab and Muslim world. Palestinian stone throwers clashed with Israeli forces as anger mounted. The Palestinians claim East Jerusalem as capital of their hoped-for state. And more violence as a Palestinian stabbed an Israeli security guard at Jerusalem's main bus station, and it was caught on camera. The security guard is fighting for his life after police say a 24-year-old Palestinian man from the occupied West Bank stabbed him in the chest after approaching a metal detector. Police say the alleged assailant was taken into custody after a passerby tackled him to the ground. And today marks the 70th anniversary of the International Day for Human Rights. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau issuing a statement saying, in part, 70 years ago, delegates from around the world came together to adopt the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which declares everyone is born free and equal in dignity and rights. And current and future generations still await the full promise of a just and equal Canada. I call on all Canadians to join together in pursuit of a world where everyone, no matter their identity, beliefs, or circumstances, is born free and equal in dignity and rights. To the weather situation outside now, the city of Hamilton is getting ready for its first taste of winter. Environment Canada issuing a statement today forecasting 5 to 10 centimeters of snow for most of southern Ontario to begin tomorrow. Road crews have already been out with de-icing materials getting ready for the roads. Storage facilities are stocked with salt and sand, and the city's plows and salt trucks are also set to battle the snow. Residents are asked to remove cars off the street during winter storms and clear their sidewalks within 24 hours. Steve Ruddock is outside tonight with what we need to know. Steve, when will the snow start to fall?
Well, we could see a little flurry activity tonight, Nicole, but we really haven't seen much snow here in southern Ontario since the early part of November. So this is, as was mentioned, a real first test. But we're going to have snow on the ground by the time Tuesday comes along. But let's have a look at the scenario right now. So quick look at our radar shows that we did have some snow in the usual snow belt areas earlier today. But for most of us, really nothing much happening. However, the bigger picture is a low coming in, a clipper from Alberta, which is right now in Saskatchewan, will arrive tomorrow afternoon. That's how fast this is moving, and will bring us some snow. What does that mean? Well, let's have a look at the board. Anywhere from 5 to 10 centimeters is expected in these areas, and maybe a bit more in the Hamilton area. The timeline is tomorrow morning we could see a flurry or two, really nothing serious. The drive to work should be fine. But in the afternoon, after a low pressure system goes through, we'll start to see the snow start to fall, and although it won't be really heavy, I don't think for the most part, it will be accumulating on the ground. The drive home tomorrow night will be kind of messy, and even worse Tuesday morning when we finally get that 5 to 10 centimeters on the ground. So we'll get more into the details coming up in the next few minutes. Now back inside.
Thank you, Steve. It was a record-breaking year of giving for a local charitable organization. Thousands of less fortunate children in Hamilton will be getting presents this Christmas thanks to an initiative one man began 6 years ago with a single tweet. Kelly Botello has the story.
In a studio in downtown Hamilton, dozens of volunteers spent their Sunday wrapping boxes upon boxes of toys for children.
There's so much need in this city. We really need to give and give and give.
Kind of gives you like faith in humanity that this many good people are around.
The founder of Friends with Hearts, Jay Perry, says 6 years ago he was just looking to sponsor one family. Now Friends with Hearts is serving thousands.
It was beyond record setting. Last year, I believe we did about $13,000 in donations. And this year we're, at $37,000.
The money goes towards buying toys for children of all ages. Friends with Hearts works with the Good Shepherd to distribute the goods to families in need. But the children will be opening more than toys. Today, volunteers were wrapping diapers, baby clothes, pajamas, winter coats, hats and mitts.
7, 8-year-old kids are asking for a winter coat, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see that.
Representatives from the Good Shepherd say families and even children request basic necessities that many of us take for granted, like underwear, socks, and scarves. They say taking time to give to complete strangers during the holidays is a gift in itself.
It fills my heart at Christmas, and it puts everything into perspective.
This enormous mountain of toys will not only put smiles on the faces of thousands of children, but it'll also provide an enormous sense of relief for many parents and even grandparents in our community.
So this way, they're not showing up to their grandchildren's homes empty-handed.
Many families brought their children to teach them that Christmas isn't just about receiving.
People don't have as much as we do. They're going to kids whose parents can't afford all those presents.
And the wrapping was done with smiles all around. The founder of Friends with Hearts says the toys could easily be delivered to the Good Shepherd unwrapped, but he chooses to hold a wrapping party every year so that those who cannot give money can still donate their time. Nicole.
Such a beautiful story. Thank you, Kelly. The OPP's Burlington Detachment's Auxiliary Unit was in Hamilton today for their 20th annual food drive called Operation Good Neighbor. Officers were accepting non-perishable food items and cash donations to benefit the Neighbor to Neighbor Center in Hamilton. Officers were joined by Hamilton paramedics at the Fortino Supermarket on Main Street West. Constable Harold Wax says residents in Hamilton have been generous over the years.
I mean, so we see the extreme. We get people who give us whatever they can, and that's fantastic. Obviously, non-perishable food items, anything that we can provide to the food bank. But we get people that go to the extreme and provide us with large cash donations or gift cards for Fortino's or President's Choice. And then again, like I said, we get full families coming out, filling up shopping carts and rolling them out to us. Without them, we couldn't do this.
Wax says events like this will stock the food banks for the next 6 months. Over the last 20 years, they've collected nearly $1.3 million in food and cash donations to support the Neighbor to Neighbor Food Bank. And residents lining up to provide their support for St. Matthew's House in Hamilton. People offering individual gifts, food, and cash donations. Madeline Bond says today's event was a family sponsor day where people accept a family's wish list, buy gifts, and bring them to St. Matthew's House for pickup closer to Christmas.
Well, every family that is sponsored, we interview the parents. We ask what are some clothing items, what are the sizes that your children are, what are the things they ask Santa for. So we take 3 clothes items and 3 toy items. We hand that list off to your sponsor so they get age, sex, size. There's no information given out on addresses or first names, last names. Everything is identified as a family number or a senior number. And that's how we ensure that everything is confidential and that everybody has that pride and that dignity still in place.
Bond says more than 600 families have come forward this year requesting assistance, and another 50 families and seniors need to be sponsored still. If you want to donate or help, call St. Matthew's House. When we come back on the evening news, new evacuation orders were issued in California as wildfires spread across the state. Body cam video just released by Arizona authorities show an unarmed man begging for his life moments before police shoot him to death. It happened in 2016 inside a hotel hallway. We're about to show you the video, which was a part of the evidence presented in trial, and a warning some viewers may find it disturbing. Polo Sandoval has the story.
Newly released body camera footage of this police shooting shows Daniel Shaver's last moments. Police were responding to reports of a man pointing a rifle out of a hotel room window.
Hand up in the air! You do that again, we're shooting you. Do you understand? Please do not shoot
begging for his life.
Then listen to my instruction. Don't talk, listen. Hands straight up in the air. Do not put your hands down for any reason. You think you're going to fall, you better fall on your face. Your hands go back in the small of your back or down. We are going to shoot you. Do you understand me? Yes, sir.
An officer then orders Shaver to crawl toward him. Shaver complies, but then moves his right hand behind him despite the warning. Officer Philip Mitchell Brailsford fires 5 rounds, killing Shaver. Brailsford was charged with second-degree murder over this January 2016 shooting. In an interview with police, he said he thought Shaver was going for a gun, saying, quote, "He could have easily and quickly drawn a weapon down on us and fired without aiming, and he could have hit us or the citizen that we had just detained." No gun was found on Shaver. Brailsford was acquitted last week, his defenders saying his actions were justified.
Pretty much every use of force subject matter expert that reviewed this case absolutely said he acted consistently with his training.
On the tape, Shaver is repeatedly ordered to follow officers' instructions.
If you make a mistake, another mistake, there's a very severe possibility you're both going to get shot. Do you understand that? Yes. If you move, we're going to consider that a threat, and we are going to deal with it, and you may not survive it. Do you understand me? Yes, sir.
Despite the warnings he received, Shaver's family does not believe the shooting was justified. Their attorney saying in a statement to CNN, quote, "That's an execution, pure and simple. The justice system miserably failed Daniel and his family." Witnesses later told police Shaver was showing them an air rifle he used in his job exterminating pests.
The U.S. National Weather Service has extended red flag warnings until tomorrow night for parts of Ventura and Los Angeles counties as wildfires continue to cause destruction in Southern California. It means that critical fire weather conditions are expected due to a combination of gusty winds and low humidity. These aerial shots we're about to show you show the largest blaze, called the Fire of St. Thomas, or Thomas Fire, pardon me. It is only at 15% containment. Officials say firefighters could be battling the flames into January. And in Britain, heavy snowfall in some areas left roads slippery for drivers. Flights were grounded and some trains were canceled. Britain's Met Office said there was an amber weather warning, particularly across central England, and warned travelers that road, rail, and air travel delays are likely, as well as stranding of vehicles and public transport cancellations. There was 28 centimeters of snow in Wales and 12 centimeters just outside of London.
I'm Justin Dunn. Coming up in sports, the Bulldogs are in Mississauga taking on the Steelheads, while the Bills and Colts are making snow angels in Buffalo.
Welcome back, and a big welcome to Justin Dunk, who joins the CHCH Weekend News team with a look at sports. The Bulldogs playing in Mississauga today.
They certainly were, Nicole, and thanks for the welcome. Hamilton coming off a 7-1 win against Saginaw on Saturday. Visiting the Hershey Center in Mississauga this afternoon, the Bulldogs a perfect 3-0 against the Steelheads this season. Pick it up first period. Hamilton short-handed. Will Bitton snaps it upstairs, 1-0 Bulldogs. Later in the first, Nicholas Camano banks it off the Saga tender and in 2-0 for Hamilton after 1 to the third period. Brandon Sajan scores his second of the game and 15th of the season as the Bulldogs take it 5-2. Now Toronto is trying to spoil Connor McDavid's annual homecoming. He's from Richmond Hill, and Leafs forward Nazem Kadri will play a large role in the Leafs game plan to try and shut down the reigning MVP. The last time the two teams faced off, they couldn't hold McDavid off the score sheet, but the Leafs left town with the win.
Naz is a guy with a lot of skill, but also, very good defensively, I would say, as well. So he can get under people's skin very easily and very quick, and draws people off their games. And I'm sure he's gonna try and do the same here tonight.
But he's a guy that can bring you at any time. So you always got to be sharp. You always got to bring your A game, or else he's gonna make you look bad. I've said that before. So I think it's important for us to, as a unit, not just myself, but everybody to collectively chip in.
There are 4 games in the NHL tonight, including the Leafs and Oilers. Chicago looks to extend their winning streak to 9 games over Arizona. The Eastern Conference's worst team, the Sabres, look for a victory in St. Louis, and the Wild visit the Shark Tank in San Jose. The Raptors continuing a 4-game West Coast trip in Sacramento, taking on the Kings. Toronto up in the second quarter. Time winding down. DeMar DeRozan, ball in his hand, sticks the jumper. Raptors hold the lead going into halftime, fourth quarter. Raptors up by 10, but Kings forward Zach Randolph drains the 3, cuts the deficit to 7, but DeRozan answers, hits the Jimmy. He had a game-high 25 points. The Raptors up by 9, less than a minute left. Serge Ibaka delivers the dagger, hits a 3. The big man had 20 points as the Raptors win 102-87. There was a large amount of snow in Buffalo that fell on Saturday, and the Bills paid shovelers $11 an hour and gave out free tickets to those who helped get the stadium ready for Sunday's game against Indianapolis. Second quarter, Nathan Peterman starting at quarterback in place of an injured Tyrod Taylor to Calvin Benjamin. 8-yard touchdown, 7-0 Billies. Fourth quarter, Jacoby Brissett spots Jack Doyle. 3-yard touchdown, ties this game up at 7 apiece. Now at the end of regulation, Adam Vinatieri, 43-yard game-winning field goal attempt is wide. So we're off to overtime where LaShawn McCoy, the Bills running back, breaks free. 21-yard touchdown run to the end zone, and the party is on in the snow in Buffalo. 13-7, the Bills get it done. Let's go to Carolina. The Vikings visiting fourth quarter, tied at 24. Cam Newton jukes a defender easily into the secondary, breaks off a 62-yard run. Cam doing his thing. That sets up Jonathan Stewart, who dives into the end zone. Third touchdown of the game. That one is your game winner, 31-24 Panthers. The Packers, meanwhile, trying to stay in playoff contention, visiting Cleveland. First quarter, DeShone Kizer across the middle. Josh Gordon makes an 18-yard touchdown grab, first since 2014, to tie the game 7-7. Jump to overtime, knotted at 21. Packers quarterback Brett Hundley hits Davante Adams, who breaks a tackle, and he gone. 25 yards to the end zone and runs right out the tunnel. Green Bay comes up clutch and win 27-21. The Leafs game is at 7 tonight, and leading scorer Austin Matthews at the game-time decision. The center collided with defenseman Morgan Riley late in Saturday's game, and that's it for sports, Nicole.
And looking at that Bills game with all of that snow, that's what we can expect here in just the coming days.
Seems like it's coming.
Lots of fun out in the snow. Steve Ruddick will have all the details coming up after the break. The Pier 8 skating rink in Hamilton officially opened this weekend. Many residents saying they're looking forward to the winter weather expected to hit the GTHA tomorrow.
Yeah, we actually got our snow tires put on a couple weeks ago, tried to beat the rush, so we're all ready to go. Winterized, let's do it.
I'm excited. I'm ready for skiing. Skiing, snowboarding, yep.
Can't wait, can't wait.
I'm not looking forward to the snow. I bike everywhere. I think it's always nice this time during the holiday season, a couple weeks before the holidays, to have a little bit of snow on the ground. And the shovels are in the garage ready to go.
I'm ready, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. I love snow. It's nice and chilly, and it's a fun time.
And Steve has all of the snowy details. Finally, some snow on the way for us here ahead of Christmas.
That's right, and it looks like we're going to have a white Christmas because temperatures, for the most part, should stay below freezing, so whatever falls on the ground should stay, except maybe next weekend we could see a bit of a warming trend, but just sort of file that back. What we've got coming right now is this low-pressure system over Georgian Bay right now is going to trigger a few flurries tonight, but that's not the big story. The big story is right back here. Well, let's go even further back. High pressure out west is holding in place, keeping the cold air coming our way. But this clipper will slide into southern Ontario over the next few hours, and by tomorrow afternoon we'll start to see the arrival of between 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. So the drive home tomorrow night is not going to be great. And in the Hamilton area could be even a little more snow if we get an easterly wind as part of this as well. So it could be another 5 to 10 centimeters on top of that. But for tonight, should be not a bad night. Could see a flurry in the overnight period, but certainly on the colder side. And as we get into the drive tomorrow, should be okay. Again, just some flurries. Really shouldn't cause any major problems, although still on the cold side to start the day. However, things will change tomorrow afternoon with the arrival of that other low pressure system. And as we see, a high of -3 for tomorrow, 5 to 10 centimeters, maybe a bit more later Monday into Tuesday. And we could even see some flurries into Tuesday as well before things clear up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then that warming trend possible by the weekend. But the drive on Tuesday will be interesting.
Drive, even Monday night, you were saying,
yes,
too.
Yes, Monday night, the drive home.
Dangerous out there. Well, hopefully everyone does have their snow tires on at this point. All right, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back at 11 o'clock tonight. Good night.
Well, as we get a little bit closer to Christmas now, everybody's sort of itching to have a little bit of white stuff on the ground, so we get an official white Christmas. Well, looks like that's going to happen. Now, we really haven't had any significant snowfall since, the first 6 or 7 days of November, but we're going to have some snow on the ground by Tuesday morning. Here's what's going on. So for tonight, we're seeing just a little flurry activity, should not impact the drive to work tomorrow. However, a system coming in, a clipper from Alberta, is going to bring some snows into the afternoon and also overnight tomorrow. So there could be up to 15 centimeters on the ground by Tuesday morning. So again, our first significant snow coming, and so the drive home tomorrow will be interesting, and certainly the drive to work Tuesday will be even more so. We'll give you more details in the next few minutes. Nicole? Well, as I mentioned, there's a good chance of a white Christmas here because we're not going to get a lot of snow over the next week or so. However, whatever falls on the ground is likely to stay because of cold conditions out there. And again, out west, there's high pressure in the Rockies, which is keeping the cold stuff coming our way. So most of what comes on the ground over the next week or so is going to stay there, although we could see the possibility of a warming trend coming up by next weekend, but we'll be watching that for you. So low pressure moving through tonight over the next, maybe half hour, 3/4 of an hour. A little low pressure system which could trigger a few flurries should not be a problem for the drive to work tomorrow morning, Monday morning. But we are watching this clipper sliding in here from Saskatchewan right now, and it will arrive tomorrow afternoon. So Monday afternoon, we're looking for things to change. We'll have some snows and continuing snowfall into Tuesday, which could bring us up to 10 to 15 centimeters of snow for most parts of southern Ontario, right from the Muskoka area right down into the Windsor area and as far east as Peterborough. So we're watching that for that eventuality to happen. Could be a little bit more in the Hamilton area too if we get some east winds, so watch out for that. For tonight, though, should be a fairly nice night, although certainly cooler, especially in the inner parts of the province. Flurries and temperatures anywhere from -6 to -12 out there. Your drive tomorrow should be okay, but again, a chance of a flurry, and again, temperatures staying on the cold side. As we look ahead into the next couple of days, the big story will be Monday afternoon into Tuesday morning, looking for 5 to 10 centimeters, maybe a bit more, as I mentioned, in the Hamilton area. We could see a little more snow on Tuesday before things clear up and that low moves away. Sunny but cold on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday should be not a big deal, but by Saturday, Sunday, we could see a bit of a warming trend happening. Won't last too long because back next week looking at the cold stuff. At least that's how things are shaping up. Nicole?